Hello and welcome back. Today we don't need no man because we are playing the strong and independent Yugoslavia in the Cold War Project mod in the game Victoria 3. Last episode we had a big come up in terms of technology. We kind of became a city on a hill, but I guess we're not shining just yet because we have the tarnishment of the IMF not liking us still on our the crimes against capitalism lay on our hands, and so we need to enact free market, free trade, and heavy industry nationalization. We're going to try and move towards that today. I'm not sure exactly how much of this we can get through, but we really want to emerge on global affairs. Certainly this naval boyo really wants to emerge on global affairs too, and so we're going to try and move in that direction, in this episode. And to that end, we are putting in a barracks. It's going to be our first barracks. This is going to be, in order to finger people's pies, we are going to need a military, and I think that a 10 stack is decently sized. I believe that, you really are getting a lot of modifiers from various equipment. So for example, plus 8, plus 12, now we're going to be plus 15, plus whatever, and so this is doubled the efficacy, but then we can put on artillery, and now, wartime artillery plus 36, and then we can put on tanks. This is going to give offense and defense a whole lot from nothing, and then, you just see these modifiers really stack up. More provinces captured. We can use fighter jets, we have a lot of this stuff already built out, but we don't have, it currently being used, and so we built up a little bit of, all this military-oriented stuff. Now, why can't we swap this? I guess it doesn't really matter too much, but we will have to wait out the equipment adjustment, this sort of stuff. But after this, I think we will be going for, establishing some colonies in Africa, because the other Europeans, decided that they didn't need it. Now, this is a little bit annoying. We do have... we're just going to cut through the red tape, but that one is a little bit of an unfortunate one. We do have a lot of excess bureaucracy that we are currently not utilizing because we haven't swapped over all our PMs on our bureaucracy. So, we are going to try and go global this episode. Daddy and daddy, we don't need no man, we don't need no daddy, but we will try and become a daddy ourselves. And the first step is, where'd the money go? Yeah, the truth hurts. Extremely speculative grade. What is speculative about us running a more than 100% deficit spend here? This is what money moves are called, not extreme speculation. No wonder the IMF hates us. Also, I think I forgot to put this at the end of last episode, but we absolutely blasted off last episode, in terms of our GDP. We are really cranking up, courtesy of some construction. In terms of GDP, on the world stage, we're actually doing, kind of okay. If we sort by GDP, we're behind Australia and Hungary and, these types of, powers. So we're doing pretty good in terms of coming up in that regard, but we really, are just absolutely hurting for labor, and there is a modifier that is particularly uncomfortable for us right now, and that is... Oh, did it go away? Are we a minor power now? Oh, we're minor power now, finally. So we are becoming more global, despite the shame of our IMF bailout, and we have lost a negative modifier from being insignificant in terms of our migration attraction, which is hopefully we can start popping mass migration events sometime soon in southern Serbia, where we do have, a decree for pulling in more pops, tricking them to come to our country, greener grass campaigns. And so this is part of our plan, and we got it off the backs of... I wonder if it was just the completing of these, in North Serbia, the completing of some of these barracks that really popped us off in that regard. Now, let's also see if maybe we can turn on those hidden PMs, or if they just aren't turn-onable. Okay, so we can kind of turn on these ones now. I think we're going to turn on the field hospitals. This will improve training rate, which is going to be nice. It's not too expensive. Radio backpacks, hell yeah, brother. We love those radio backpacks. And motorized reconnaissance, we're just going to full crank up. We're going to have a highly, specialized military here that's going to be quite strong. We do have a national airport, shining city, except it's not shining yet. But these guys, we do need to wait for them to recruit up. Obviously, we only have 5k guys, and they have this. But Soon, hopefully, we will be able to finger some pies. So we get a transverse engine unlocked, which seems to me to be a really big PM because we have quite a bit of extraction, and this gives us, you know, better coal mines, iron mines, etc., mostly etc., but also for motor industries, we get a new engine PM, rather, which is going to, you know, make this sort of swap a lot easier. It's going to make way more engines. Currently, we're a little dependent on Soviet engines, so those routes will wind down. We do want to eventually lead more exporty, but then we can also turn up all of these, which are going to produce way more resources at the cost of engines, of course, and so this will be big nice. Very big tech that we have coming in there. Coming on up, we do have that big bottom blown converters tech, where it's going to help our glassworks and our steelworks. So this is going to, again, heavy industry is going to be a lot more in our hands, rather than importing from the Soviet Union. And then, of course, how could we be a shining city on a hill without an international airport, which, of course, we will put in southern Serbia. Which is our capital, which is big and tall and thick, and so, and now, with improved migration attraction from becoming a minor power, a little bit more global. You know, we were trying to get the Greeks diplomatically, and then we're like, hey, maybe we need to get them militarily. What if we can, you know, get them to change their attitude towards us by fulfilling a lot of their demands and just running a lot of trade routes to Greece for stuff that they need. You know, this is something that we probably should have been doing, we could have been doing, and we weren't doing. So let's try and do that a little bit now, and just try and run up the volume of trade with them quite a bit, especially because, you know, they're a relatively small, like, partner that's right next to us, and if we can, this is also going to help our industries too. We can't export that because we don't produce it ourselves. Rip the dream. But this will hopefully help us a lot. You know, the prices seem to be really plus 75, minus 75-y in this mod, which I think is just, like, the result of, you know, little tweaks that probably need to be made, but this is going to help us to maybe get these guys to big like us, which would be big nice. Can you export telecoms? No, you can't. That makes too much sense. Can we export some of this? We can export the liquor, and so we've kind of ran through all of the really expensive stuff, I think. Oh, I guess not the furniture. Did we export the furniture? Nah, let's export it. And then now let's look at the really cheap stuff that we can, that's cheap because we're exporting it, but we can import, you know, all this stuff that is very, very cheap, that has enough sell orders. So, for example, this doesn't have enough sell orders, but this is going to be, well, we're just going to import that anyways. It doesn't make money, but that's fine. It's not too big a deal. The fruit will be nice. It should suffice, but it's not rice. Kind of excited for 1.5 with all the rice business. But I think that, ooh, can we import, whoa, baby, let's import some crude. And they are producing, the grain's not super cheap, but we might be able to import it now. This isn't super cheap either, but I don't know where their orders are coming from. I guess we could maybe import engines. No, I guess it's gonna be kind of okay, but hopefully now they won't be antagonistic. I mean, they have come up to cordial. We are still bankrolling them, and, you know, let's call this an experiment to see if we can diplomatically try and get Greece to be our dominion, and as far as the military goes, look to maybe militarily expand in Mozambique, because Greece does not have, you know, they have, of course, have AI strategy, autocratic agenda, rather than, you know, AI autocratic, oh wait, they have the same thing, but mainly defending the borders is going to kind of block us from any sort of thing. We, of course, have a legislative failure. Big, not nice. You know, 5% isn't a lot of ticks, but heavy industry, I think, is going to be better to pass than the other ones first, because then we will get a capitalist class where we don't currently have them. But curious to see how this experimentation with Greece works, at least in this mod, for trying to incorporate them diplomatically. Okay, so we see a modifier that we weren't even aware of before, and that is migration attraction on this international airport, which is unscaled, so I believe it just applies to the entire country. We will take a look, so we're gonna hit that button. Hurrah, hurrah. We should be getting extra migration attraction here, and so we are getting, let's see, where is it coming? 23% from international airport. Looks like, I thought it was unscaled, but that's going to help out quite a bit for attracting people to our country. And let's see if we get that modifier where we don't have an international airport. So we don't get it unless we have an international airport. So guess where we're building an international airport, everyone? Everywhere. We're going to build at least one level in all of kind of our areas. So let's come in here, and we will be going off on the airports. So we're just going to build one. It's not scaled, so having more than one level won't be useful, but having one international airport in every single state will be useful. And we're probably going to run into immediate problems when we do that, huh? Because I'm guessing we don't have enough planes to more than triple our airport quantity. So let's actually also we probably don't want the extra airport here, to be honest, because I think oh no, wait, we didn't build an extra airport, but we're going to need a whole lot more commercial aircrafts. I think we have enough oil, but where are our commercial aircrafts? We're going to need a lot more of these, so why don't we just, you know, kind of kick those up, put them on auto-expand, and let them do what they do, but that's going to help us out a lot on the migration attraction front. I think we're just about ready to declare a war, maybe. We're going to let this kind of finish employing up and finish decaying, and then we're going to look around for a war. Okay, well, we were looking to see if anyone sided on any side, but Mozambique just back down, and so we have added our first member to the customs union. Now we could increase autonomy, which would give them bureaucracy and influence. This is interesting. And they get authority, and they get a truce, and they become a protectorate. I don't think we want to do that, but we might want to start developing them, which generates 2 progress towards each day towards improving relations. What does start administering do? This increases relations. We'll transfer a scaled amount of bureaucracy each week. This transfers money, I believe. We'll transfer construction. Well, we don't want to do that. We could invite them. They're not even in the customs union as a subject. Interesting. And how is the relations developing? So the puppet status hurts relations. And so if we wanted to kind of do that, get them into the customs union, we would have to do something else. Now, can we annex them outside of the truce? It looks like we will be able to annex them once the truce is up. So I guess we don't get the benefit of them being in the customs union, which means no migration. But other than this, you know, we will be looking to incorporate them over the long term, I guess. They don't change color, do they? Okay, there we go. Nice Yugoslavian purple there. So, very nice. So we did increase a large volume of trade with Turkey, kind of with the same idea with Greece. We'll look to diplomatically incorporate these guys, especially because they're in NATO. But now they're bankrolling us, which is, I mean, I guess that works for us. That's super nice of them to consider us in that way. And so they will be bankrolling us. I don't think we're anywhere near the point where we can, like, incorporate them, you know, in terms of, like, trying to dominion them, because we're much smaller than them, but their army power projection, for example. But I think long term we might be able to do something like this, and having a trade agreement and good relations going in will be really useful. They're still antagonistic with us with Greece, and so they view us as a natural enemy and a militarily threatening neighbor. Maybe this won't be possible for us to, like, do stuff kind of the slow way. We could look to go after them militarily, but I think anyone where the US is likely to join against us is going to be an engagement, at least for the time being, we have to avoid. We still have a bit of infamy, so we're just kind of looking for, you know, wars eventually, but we have kind of a new set of interests. We have 3 interests, and we have the natural interest in South Africa now, probably going to go after something in Central Africa, and look to just develop natural interests around the globe without needing to expand our navy. We unlock a pretty big tech here, and that is proprietary software, which is going to move us from 5% throughput on everything to 10% throughput on everything. We went ahead of time, or not ahead of time, we went out of our way to make sure we had computers and built extra computers, but we're just going to turn these on in a few select industries right now, because I imagine this might cause, you know, a shortage of computers. We'll almost certainly turn them on computer manufacturers themselves, and so hopefully, you know, this will be good, but I really like the way that they do things here in this mod, with a whole bunch of stuff that can give you a bunch of extra throughput, you know, with the technology, and I think that this is a really interesting way of dynamically scaling stuff up and up. I just realized it seems like they don't even have to consent to this customs union thing, so this is just a choice for us, and this will improve relations over time, but they don't have a choice. They just get thrown in the customs union, which is going to be good for both of us, you know, and stuff of theirs will actually be able to employ up in this sort of thing, and also, you know, we'll get access to a lot of their raw resources, which will be pretty good, I think, for us, and so that's a bit interesting. We are going to, of course, you know, annex them, I think, as quickly as possible, because I think there might be rare earth materials underneath their dirt, and they just don't have the tech to discover it, but that is a bit of an interesting one, where you can just invite anyone to the customs union who's already a subject, and they have to accept. And so, this is, I was, like, thinking, like, oh, it's not Ottoman, the customs union. You don't need, they just have to accept. There's no choice in the matter. So we just got a really nice tick on our law pass that moved us up to, you know, 24%, which, while we're going really slow, is pretty nice. But I think we're actually going to change things up a little bit in regards to our government. I think we are going to just throw the entrepreneurs in, which is going to help in a few ways. First of all, we do have an institution that is giving increased attraction groups of guys in government. Now, we don't have this at a very high level, so let's actually just come on over, go in the urban centers, and we do have a few government facilities that are not on the latest and greatest, and so we'll swap them over to computerized bureaucracy, which frees up a ton of bureaucracy. Hopefully the computers aren't too expensive for us to increase this institution, but we are already going to, you know, have more attraction, and these guys have a little bit more push and clout for upping this to get us onto heavy industry nationalization. And on top of this, our corruption will now trend towards zero, because we'd had the intelligentsia in government for so long. The corruption on them had really risen over time, and so you know, these guys' corruption won't even rise past the corruption drive, but once they're in government for a long time, it'll start to rise. But this will allow us to, like, reset this, hopefully get on some new laws, because it's just been a huge slog trying to get through heavy industry on this. So we see that we can actually invite this market liberal intelligentsia guy, so why don't we invite him to the government, and then we can, you know, he wants something else, or he's actually, let's just see if he supports heavy industry in terms of his agitation, or is he just gonna he's gonna start a movement to enact free market. Okay, so fair enough. I don't think that this necessarily gets enough clout, but what we can do is we can put the intelligentsia back in government at some point. I kind of would like their corruption to actually decay, you know, because they have a ton from the time in government. But if we'll see what the movement looks like, but we might switch off of heavy industry nationalization. But us being able to put a market liberal on, you know, our highest clout thing might be something that we need to think about doing, or actually do. Greece and Turkey are bankrolling and unbankrolling us repeatedly, and so this will be nice if for passing, like, this battery of laws that we need, you know, in order to do things. We get a tech that has a bunch of PMs, so let's take a look at some of these PMs while we're kind of recording here. It's going to do motor industries up to circuit integrated motors, which is going to produce a ton more engines, which of course we love, and electronics manufactories are going to get integrated circuitry, which is going to produce a lot more electronics. We have a lot of these factories. We unlock semiconductors factory and transistor computers for computer manufactories. So let's take a look at the computer manufactories. Is it going to require semiconductors? So this requires semiconductors. Does this other one require semiconductors? Did we just not read? It does require semiconductors. So we're going to go back, and then we are going to try and make some semiconductors. I think that these will require rare earth materials, so this is an unfortunate thing, but let's find the semiconductor plant and see where we have labor, and you see, really, we are starting to run out of labor quite acutely. We will put this on auto expand though, and get ready to have this kind of doing its own thing. But yeah, we're really out of labor. We really need some more labor, and what sucks is we need to, you know, move on to church disestablishment in order to, you know, be able to pull up pops from Mozambique, because they're discriminated on the basis of religion. But there's just so many laws we're trying to pass through, and they're passing really slow. We're not that legitimate. I mean, maybe we should have gone off of this like a while ago and gone on to some sort of democracy. I think we will need to try and keep a look on the agitators to try and agitate towards passing some of these laws. So we are going to be going after Zambia here, and looking to puppet them, which is of course going to give us a native diplomatic interest in the area. And so we've moved a new interest to the Middle East, because of course oil. Also, a nice development that just happened was we found a uranium mine in Kosovo, which is going to be super nice. We of course will have to put up all the PMs, but this will allow us to not be dependent on any man, I mean, on the Soviet Union and the USA for our uranium enrichment program, which of course is just another law that we have to pass. Is we have to get onto, you know, where is it? Civilian applications. We got to move to deterrence before we can do this sort of national energy thing, which is a little bit annoying because we paid to be able to do this, but oh well, not too big a deal. Greece is just repeatedly bankrolling and debankrolling us. I'm kind of expecting to see them back down, but I guess we'll see what happens. Alright, we just got another tick that gave us minus 10% on heavy industry nationalization, and so this isn't going through too well. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to stop this. We can't do it for 730 days, unfortunately, but we have this movement with really high support for free market off the back of this guy that we had invited, and the Boyo in government supports free market, and so hopefully we can get, you know, free market pretty quick here, and we're going to have 53% enactment chance. I don't think we're going to trigger a rev because we have pretty good, you know, approval. I guess we should have double-checked a little bit more closely before, you know, making such a committal move. Urban center throughput's going to be nice. But yeah, overall, people aren't too terribly upset other than the laborists who have 9% clout and the moralists. But I think that this free trade deal will be the best deal in the history of deals, and will also help us to, you know, just trading more is going to actually be kind of, well, actually, I don't think it affects trade. I think what it does is it affects IPT, which is not actually going to be useful. Yeah, it's just IP. It decreases our ability to subsidize what we want. You know, can subsidize all buildings, no investment pool. So we will have an investment pool brewing, but we won't have any way to use it because there will be no, everything will be totally nationalized. But I'm hoping that this market liberal guy after this will agitate for, you know, other reforms that we can do, like, you know, getting onto no nationalization or moving towards in that direction or what have you. And so hopefully we can ride the back of this guy to that. And also we are kind of pushing here into Zambia. So we unlock geological sciences, and with it, this basic green tech thing here. And what this is going to do is it is going to decrease, I believe, the output of our dear friend pollution. Now we don't see any of this. So I believe we do want it on this, but what this affects is, you know, a modifier that is a bit interesting on the terms of migration attraction. So I think it's going to be something we're interested in, which is habitability. There's no tooltip for it, I don't think, but this is going to increase, you know, people wanting to come here, and I think we definitely want to be in that kind of wheelhouse, and so we're probably going to turn on the batteries relatively early. I do believe, or it's going to require batteries, I do believe we're definitely going to turn them on inside these battery manufacturers, but we're going to wait for these to come on up and then try and get onto, you know, more green tech a little bit early, because we do care about the migration. Now we do get a socialist demagogue thing going, but okay. So this is kind of going to be an inflection point and an interesting mechanic that we have here in the mod, which is that it's going to negatively affect migration when we pollute a lot, and so we can keep that down. I think there's something about the global heat, but I didn't see that quite yet, and I haven't delved too deep into the tech tree. You know, it's an enormous tech tree, but hopefully we get at least some way into it before the performance starts to fall, because there's so many goods and so many techs, it's bound to happen at some point. So it looks like there is in fact an innovation cap, but it is just quite high, but this is going to give us an increased cap, so that's pretty nice. As far as the techs go, we are going to be kind of we are prepping the society tech going going ahead of time, and then we're picking up, you know, some polio, immunization, not polio, you know, some other tech here that's useful in the tier 3s that we think looks pretty good before going to the tier 4s for OChem for the advanced analytics in our research centers, which is going to give us more quals and education access. You know, the more I think about it, the more, you know, I think it was 2 episodes ago that we went on to compulsory primary education. I think this is probably overkill, but, you know, this is the soup we're swimming in now. The highly educated soup. Hey, we get free market, baby. We also went after the Trucial states, and they just backed down to us, so that was kind of uneventful. But now we lose our ability to subsidize anything. Fine, fair enough. But now we get to take a tick and see just what this guy is going to be agitating for. While we do that, I'm not sure if we have another invite ready, but if we do have an invite ready, and of course we have some lag whenever we open up this on this mod, if we do have an invite ready for these guys, then what we're going to do is we're going to try and invite another market liberal guy, if we can find one. Only show available. No one's available because we don't have our cooldown. But fair enough. We just want to see, will this guy start agitating immediately? We do see this, you know, agitation. He wants free. What? Why is he trying to enact free trade, bro? We have free trade. Oh, we have free market. He wants free trade. Okay, well, we need to get this through the IMF anyways. The entrepreneurs don't like free trade, which is unfortunate for us. But who can we use to pass these? Only the capitalists. Really wish he agitated instead for this, but I think that I guess we can't even do this one anyways. We have to wait another 13 months. So let's see how much support. There's like virtually no support for this, so we're not going to be able to do this through just that agitator alone. Now, what we could do is we could put the Intelligentsia back in Gov, put that guy in on it, and then, you know, we will have a fairly legitimate government, you know, with the Intelligentsia, but then we have all this corruption, and, you know, the corruption of this group is still increasing from the time they had in government. And so I think we want to try and go without them for at least a little bit of time, so maybe we're just not going to be cutting this through today on this episode, because, you know, we want to get, like, 1% is not worth us trying to go on free trade, and we do want to get off of state atheism, so let's see what's gonna happen, what's cooking here, in terms of who supports this. So the moralists, could we put the moralists or the ruralists in government, is the question. I'm guessing the answer is no. Yeah, these guys by themselves don't work. Do these two together work? No. Do them and this guy work together? No. And who was the other one who supported it? A little bit, the ruralists. The ruralists are pissed at us anyways, and they're really small, so it's not going to make that big difference. We have a movement for direct democracy, but other than that, not too good on the democracy. I suppose we could become more centralized, which would help enactment passing speed. We could just... No, I don't think we want to change that one. Leaves us in a little bit of a weird spot. State-funded schools. Hell yeah, brother. I mean, we could get off of compulsory, which would be kind of... Or we could get off of compulsory secondary education, which I think might be actually the way to go, considering we're basically out of labor. There's no unemployed, and there's just a slight amount of informal workers, and it is really, you know, a little painful for us. But what we want is... man, we really want to get off of state atheism, but we can't with our current setup. There's really not too much. I was hoping there was something the entrepreneurs would like that we could pass, but I guess not. But I also don't want to put the Intelligentsia in Gov, so what do? Could we maybe do the bureaucrats and the loyalists? Nope. Could we maybe just do these guys by themselves? Nope. There's not too much we can do in terms of legitimacy without putting the Intelligentsia back in, but we don't want them back in. Are we really just supposed to sit and chill? Maybe we're supposed to sit and chill and try for heavy industry nationalization, and maybe after these 13 months, these guys will be more on that, in support of that, than they are free trade. Or maybe we will be able to invite some guy to... actually, you know, I think we're just supposed to tolerate super, super high corruption and do this. God, that sucks. But we're going to do that. We're going to throw this guy into Gov. We're going to grant him leadership. He's a market liberal, so now he's not going to agitate for anything, but with this guy in charge, now we can try and move onto, you know, free trade. This will piss off the guys, but we will have, you know, a pretty solid enactment chance of 27 at the very least, along with just barely being shy of acceptable. But since we have, you know, this justice system, which is giving us increased attraction of interest groups in government, this will help a little bit for getting the intelligentsia. The problem is going to be we will be ticking towards a baseline corruption of 64, which is not ideal, but we'll see what we can do. Okay, we are back above 50% clout here, which is going to mean we're not going to have this minus 50 enactment time penalty, which is particularly problematic. And so this is going to help us get on to free trade. So it's looking like we are kind of coming through, maybe getting through this IMF business actually quicker than we had anticipated, which is going to be big nice. If we do, we're kind of chilling a little bit because we do have a lot of infamy, and so we're going to sit on our infamy for now. We don't want anyone to get too pissed at us, but I think once we get on free trade, well, actually, I think that already people are going to have different opinions for us because we changed our economic system, and so it's going to be easier to get stuff like, yeah, trade agreements. So why don't we just stop improving relations with this guy, and now we don't have this incompatible economics thing, because we went on to free market. What's it called? Free market, yeah, that's exactly what it's called. So our economic system is now more compatible with a lot of guys, so we can get, you know, more trade agreements than we could otherwise with, you know, the Western-leaning partners, and everyone else, it's just the Soviet Union for trade agreements. Are they pissed at us? Is Daddy pissed at us? No, he's still cooperative. And I think we have a trade agreement with them anyways, and so we get to play both sides of the fence a little bit here. But they're cautious. That's a little spooky, so we do want to be a little bit apprehensive / scared / terrified about that whole business. But where is our trade agreement? Yeah, so now we can get trade agreements with a few others. I think we're going to go for a trade agreement with Iran here, and maybe one with Chile, or look to do one with Chile kind of in the future. Iran, we have been kind of buttering up. We're bankrolling. We're not improving relations. But now that we have a trade agreement, we do want to try and, you know, get them onto something like this. We have a heavy ideological differences, but we could even regime change them. Oh, Jesus, that's 56 infamy? I don't think that's going to happen. But we do want to be able to try and press the Make Dominion button on someone at some point, I think. You know, it's interesting that this is just a straight-up diplomatic action, and we're hoping to, before the end of this episode, which we're going to extend at least a little bit, we're hoping to get this on Greece, now that we have, you know, yeah, but the ideological differences of governments. So a country's, is it just based on the interest group? Huh, maybe we could just swap up our interest group, like, in order, if it's based off interest group, yeah, we could see, okay, so it's based on who's in government here, and so we can get rid of this if we just get our elites in power for this sort of thing. Currently the intelligentsia is in for us, which is what's allowing us to do reforms, or has been up until this point. So we rolled through a couple events to increase enactment time, and now it is just flying. I think we're on 1 day. Yeah, 1 day a tick. And so we do have to just kind of take 1 day. Let's take this enactment chance. Manufacturers industry throughput for year. All right, we'll take the minus, but we're just gonna, every day we get a little bit of a tick, and we get on free trade, and we're down to like 1 day. So we're just gonna get to, let's see. We're just going to take whatever gives us most enactment. Or actually, let's see. Popularity for 5 years, approval for several years. I don't think we necessarily want that, because we kind of are going to come off of the intelligentsia. But maybe not in the near future. We get bureaucratic trust permanently, 5% authority. Okay, we're definitely doing that. Especially because we're just, you know, every day. Now, every day we do have to make a choice here. A choice about what's going to happen. I do think... I'm not sure what we're supposed to pick here. Minus popularity on the guy who's in Gov, I guess. And we get Free trade. Now, this guy who's been agitating... So, first of all, our free trade should increase, like, our trade volume with everyone. And maybe it makes it so that people... we're going to see about take on debt. Nope, can't do it. Customs union can't expand it. Will more people take a trade agreement? Well, Turkey will take a trade agreement. This is going to be only 50 of our juice. So we're going to put that in on Turkey. But also, let's see if anyone's willing to become a dominion now. No? Okay, fair enough. I respect that. Respect your autonomy, but not really. And we want to move on to heavy industry nationalization. Can we still not pass it because of time? We have to wait 8 months. So let's see if this guy agitates for anything. Turkey accepts the trade agreement, and by the we don't even have the guy who was agitating because he's our market liberal boyo now. So now we maybe, I guess we want to dilute this guy out of government, anyways, and so we kind of have a choice between the urbanists trying to pass something that they like, or trying to pass something that the laborists like. Well, we've exhausted options with the laborists quite a bit. We could just kick the entrepreneurs into gov and kick these guys out and just try and pass something that entrepreneurs like. I think we're just going to keep the intelligentsia in gov, though, either way. And so will the bureaucrats support something, or the laborists support something we like? State atheism. They strongly endorse state atheism, so they're not going to help us on that front. We would really like help on that front. And you know what? I think we have a Christian... Hold the phone. Let's take a look at our generals. So we have an environmentalist, a moderate, a Christian Democrat. Well, the capitalists aren't strong enough to put in a globalist and a market liberal. But the Christians almost assuredly will support, us moving in the direction of punitive... His ideology is punitive. What the hell? Labor camps, militarist police. Okay, fair enough. This one's an abolitionist. Let's just take a look at our generals. And the idea is we're looking for someone with an ideology that we could use to pass laws. Moderate Christian Democrat. So, if we recruit this guy, is he popular? Not especially. And do we have a popular... We have this guy who's a market liberal. So if we recruit the general, and we did, now we can exile this guy, dissident, and maybe we roll our Christian. Okay. Oh, we have protected speech. Just kidding. We can't do that. But I guess we'll just have to wait for, maybe rolling a Christian naturally, because, but that'll help out for us trying to get onto... Yeah, I don't see anything that looks Christian-y. We do want to get off of state atheism onto church disestablishment, and so that way we can accept more pops, and so this is kind of important. State atheism allows us to accept some pops, but not all pops, and we are desperately in need of more pops, and so kind of do want to... I mean, our customs union's not huge. We are getting some mass migration, which is nice, but... yeah, so I guess we're just going to be mainly chilling for a little bit, unless... No. Well, we could try and move on to, like, representative democracy or something like this. Consensus democracy. This is going to help us a lot more on the legitimacy front, which is going to allow us to pass laws a lot faster. I don't know about direct democracy, though. And the urbanists like this one, but I think that, yeah, a lot of people hate this one. But if we get onto representative democracy, then we should be able to have a much better looking government. And we could do this and try and pass it. The urbanists are just so weak, though, is the problem. Very bohemian. Yeah, I bet you are. I mean, it's probably just wait and then pass this, and just wait for 8 months. 8 months isn't a long time. This is probably just the play. But for now, I think we're going to conclude this episode. We finally managed to, start making some moves, globalizing kind of our reach here, reaching into South Africa and puppeting Mozambique, Zambia, and the Trucial states, which of course will have oil. We're starting to develop a lot of interests. We have natural interests in several areas now, and we're just going to continue to try and push the interests. Maybe we'll do that, something like that. and try and subjugate these people. We are trying to form the third block here, where there's the eastern block, the western block, and of course we will be the middle block with the shining city on the hill. The migration is kind of, well, okay, the migration's not popping off. Is our literacy kind of popped off? Not yet. Okay, well, we're making progress. Our GDP really cranked up, so that's kind of helping a lot. Also, we have been still cranking up this university. The throughput cap is over, this level for economies of scale. We'll probably add another 5 pretty soon here, as in now. And this will continue to allow us to really push, look, 50 days for a tech here. And so this continued push hopefully will allow us to continue to crank up the economy, just kind of relativizing it to everyone else in terms of GDP. We have, it's not the biggest GDP, but it is the number 17 worldwide. We have been making progress. I think the biggest throttle now at this point is the labor, so we're going to need to figure that out. But yeah, we've become global. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and other than that, have a good one.